Hey guys, and thanks for joining me for yet another video. In this presentation, we're going to be taking a look at how to make an upside down pineapple cake. Now, this is a super easy recipe. A lot of people feel threatened by it, but trust me, it's super easy. When you see how easy this is, you'll probably want to make it for every special occasion that you have. So let's get into this video and get making this upside down pineapple cake. So for this recipe, which is upside down pineapple cake, we're gonna need 2 cups of flour, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, half a teaspoon of salt. You're gonna need 3/4 cup of granulated sugar with half cup of melted butter. I'm gonna be melting this in the microwave for 40 seconds. It should get it melted nicely. You're also going to need another portion of butter, this time 1/3 of a cup, and you're also going to need 1/4 cup of brown sugar. So I'm going to be putting this into here as my first step, but we'll get there. You'll also need a bowl. You'll need a cake tin, 8-inch cake tin or so. You'll need a can of pineapple slices, and I'm using Maraschino Cherries here, the ones that are instant and soaking, and 2 eggs. So first step, you empty your 1/4 cup of brown sugar into a small saucepan. I'm going to be placing all this butter into here, so I'm going to do that right now, and I'll be right back to show you. As well as you're going to need 3 tablespoons of pineapple juice. So I just throw that right on to the sugar as we go right there. You need the rest of this juice for the rest of the ingredients, but that is a start there. So we're gonna put the butter in. So we're gonna be placing this saucepan with our butter and sugar onto a medium fire. So it's gonna be just the medium, and we're gonna let this melt a little bit more before we give it a stir. So we're not gonna interact with this until it starts to, you can see the butter disintegrate into this, and then we'll interact with it. It doesn't have to be on here very long. I just keep it on here until my butter melts nicely into this sauce. So we'll be right back. So overall, my butter looks like it wants to start to melt. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use my spatula, and I'm gonna start integrating this syrup in a sense here. So we're gonna just mix this in. So this is as much of a boil that I'm gonna allow it to come to. So I'm not gonna let it evolve more than that. I just wanted to make sure that the pineapple juice was integrated nicely with the sugar and the butter. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna just take this off the fire now, and we're gonna transfer this directly into our baking dish. So we're gonna put this right at the bottom part of the baking dish like that. So next, after we put that syrup into that baking dish, we're gonna start by placing our pineapples down into it. So you just place your pineapple all the way around your bowl. So I took out 1/3 of a cup of cherries. I may use more or less. I just took it out and put it in here so I could handle it better. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place 2 cherries per circle. So yeah, I put 2 in each gap in between there. So 1 there and 1 out here. So it worked out perfectly as in that quantity right there. So that's enough cherries for the base of this cake, and it's perfectly ready for the next step. So we're gonna proceed with the next step, being that we measured out our half cup of butter that was in this measurement cup. I put it in a teacup, and I'm gonna be placing this teacup in the microwave for 45 seconds, just so I can melt it enough to integrate the sugar into it. So yeah, we're gonna place this in there, and I'll be back to show you what's the next step after that. So yeah, we just added our sugar to that butter, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna use our whisk, and we're gonna incorporate these two together and get it nice and flush before we do anything further. You can also prep your flour, your salt, and your baking powder, and that's going to need to be whisked in as well. So meanwhile you're incorporating your sugar into your butter, it's the right time right now to start your oven, and you need to set it to 350 and let it preheat because you're quite close to the finishing of this cake. So what we're gonna do at this point is we're gonna add in the balance of our pineapple juice into this. Whatever is left, you just add it in there and mix that into that. You're gonna add in your 2 eggs at this time, and you're gonna give that a whisk. And as you can imagine, the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna mix our dry ingredients together, and then we're gonna be combining the two, but I'll show you what that looks like when we get there. So once your dry ingredients have been mixed in and you feel comfortable with the baking powder going through the flour and the salt, now we're gonna integrate our wet ingredients into it. Give it one final mix just so everything's fluid again, and then we're just gonna pour this into here, all of it, and then we're gonna whisk the flour into this to combine till we get a cake batter. So we're just gonna give this a whisk to incorporate the dry into the wet. So my batter is pretty close right now, like with regards to thickness, and this is the kind of thickness that you want to get, but I'm gonna whisk it so it's a bit smoother, but this is the thickness we're going for, a nice thick batter. You see, I'm just trying to show you the thickness, but I'm gonna whisk this in some more because I want to incorporate it. So back to our dish that's prepared with the pineapple and the cherry. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna just be pouring this entire batter over top our cake, and we're going to spread it out nicely so that this is level up top. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to come back and show you, but we're literally going to scoop. I'm going to use a spatula and scoop all this out and spread it evenly over top the pineapple so that it's I'm going to start spreading it out with a fork. So what I do is I go from one side and I just literally plaster it throughout. I spread it evenly. It's okay if the syrup comes on top, that's fine. The whole idea is to spread your batter around your entire tray so that your pineapple is submerged and the batter is sitting on top. The syrup, don't worry about that. Just worry about spreading your batter evenly around the tray. Guys, this is the smoothest we were able to get this batter. At least we got it to spread nicely around the edges, and it's nice and flat now and even. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna place this into our oven at 350 degrees. We're gonna set a timer for 30 minutes, and at that point we'll check and see how our cake's doing. So we're gonna place this into the oven right now, and we'll be back to see what it looks like in 30 minutes. Hey guys, so I just took this cake out of the oven. It has a nice golden color. I'm just gonna be testing it now to see if it's cooked or to make sure it's dry. As you can see, the little grains are on the stick, so that means it's dry. See? Yeah. So this is cooked all the way. I feel confident in going in. So what you want to do is you want to go in with a knife just to make sure that things aren't stuck. It shouldn't be because there was so much syrup, and there's so much syrup binding this to the edges. So I like to just run my knife to make sure nothing is stuck. So I run it all the way around before I cover this with a plate and flip it over. So that's the big test after the flip. So we're gonna do that now. So pray for me, guys. I just now flipped it. I hope it comes on. Oh, look, lots of steam. Oh boy, I should have waited a little, but let's have faith that this works out. Woo! It worked out. So here we go, y'all. Here is our outside. It's steaming hot. You can see all the heat. I could have waited a little bit, but this is our upside down pineapple cake. Here's a close-up of it. It looks amazing. So we're gonna go in for the cuts right now. I'm just gonna cut here. As you can see, I don't even have to literally hold a knife it's soft. Okay, I like that. And I'm gonna cut a piece from here so I get a nice slice. I just have to cut through the pine, but the cake itself is soft. There we go. Here we go. Just gonna take this slice. It's hot, it's steaming hot. Yeah, so this cake was a success. I'm just gonna take out my core middle. And yeah, that's it. This cake is ready to go. As you can see, looks lovely. The interior is nice and soft.